something is wrong in the American society. It is not Farrakhan who made it wrong. I just got here a few days ago. I am not the author of bigotry. I am not the author of racism. I am not the author of anti-Semitism. I was birthed into that kind of world. So why blame me for what you've been suffering all along? Racism pervades the American society. And they are frightened to death, not only that my own black brothers and sisters are listening to Farrakhan, but they are frightened to death that Hispanics, Native Americans, Arabs, and even white people are listening to Farrakhan and saying, he's not what they said I am. Then if I turn out to be not what they say I am, then you got to ask the question, why do they say I am that I am not? And when you find the answer out to that question, you shall be free indeed. And if you're racist and God puts good ideas in somebody black, you're going to miss them. Because after all, blacks can only sing, you see. Blacks can only dance. Blacks can only jump high and throw balls in hoops. Blacks can only run pigskin across a line or beat somebody up with their fists. But you have never become acquainted with blacks who are thinkers who can inspire you to higher and nobler aspirations. Anthropologically, a Dr. Leakey went to find the origin of man. Where did he go? Africa. Did he find the origin of man? Yes. Who did Dr. Leakey say was the first man on the earth? Did he say it was a white man, a yellow man, a brown man? Who did he say it was? Black man. So the white anthropologists agree, right? Wait now. How many of you have ever studied biology? Raise your hands high. Don't be bashful. Come on. Okay. Thank you. Now, there's a man in biology. His name is Mendel. He's a Caucasian. I never met him. But Mendel was studying the genetic makeup. And Mendel said, dark skin is dominant. Light skin is recessive. Dominant means strong. Recessive means weak. Mendel said light eyes are recessive. Dark eyes are dominant. Recessive means weak. Dominant means strong. Then Mendel went on to say, you can get the recessive from the dominant, but you cannot get the dominant from the recessive. What was Mendel saying? That if two white people were the first people on earth, we never could have come here, because the white man cannot produce a black man. Is that right? All right. So if the white man cannot produce the black man, talk to me now, then this means that we, black people, can produce the whole human family. Does the Bible and Quran bear witness to that? Yes. The Bible says, from one blood came all living things. One blood came all human beings. One blood. Blood is the life fluid of some living creature. If you are the original man, then you are the blood that produced every human being on the earth. That must be told. It must be said from the mountaintops, because the whole world looks down on the black man and woman. The whole world crushes the black man and woman. So if we are going to end racism, we have to end race and bring all back to the Father, back to the beginning, that we become a nation. But you cannot become a nation until you get into oneness with the root. All right. White folks, when they heard this, I mean, you could see them squirming, turning little different colors. But I kept driving my point home. Look, if you got a seed of a rose, plant the rose. The rose will come up a certain color. I got a rose bush out on the property in Phoenix. Most beautiful rose you've ever seen. We cut the roses and put them on the dining room table. And you know what? We have white rose, yellow rose, red rose, pink rose. Wait a minute. All of that come from one rose seed? Yeah. But those who work with seeds have been grafting and producing other different colors. Come on. Some of them is not the original thing. They are produced. They're called hybrids. Come on. Come on. Now look, if the white man does not call himself a native nothing. That's right. Think about it. Are you listening to me? Yes, are you asleep or you awake? Who's the Native American? Whitey's not a native. Who's the Native African or so-called African? Come on. Who's the Native Asian? Who's the Native Australian? Who's the native of South America? If the white man is not a native nowhere on the earth, that means he's not natural to the earth. Then the question must be asked, where did he come from? Y'all all right? Now, if you cross a lemon, I think, and an orange, you can get what? A what? A who? A grapefruit. The lemon been here. The orange has been here. But when you cross them, you begin to get something new. Is that right? The donkey been here. The horse been here. When you cross the donkey and the horse, you get what? A mule. Big old dumb stubborn thing. Any resemblance to any persons in the audience is quite a coincidence. If God can make men and with enough knowledge and science to take a created thing, then make from the created thing something that is from it but not necessarily like it, then that is a made thing from the created thing. If the white man is not natural anywhere on the earth and we are natural in every part of the earth, then where did the white man come from? As God brought light out of darkness, darkness was here first. Then God said, let there be light, and found light in darkness and brought it out. The first 5 books of Moses, Moses begins talking to the children of Israel in these words. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. See, the opposites. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and God said, let there be light. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, heaven and earth. God said, let there be light. Now there's light and darkness. And one part called the firmament, earth, the other part called heaven. One part he called night, the other part he called day. We're dealing now with the duality. Is that right? God tells you right there, one cannot exist in the place while the other one is there. Darkness doesn't exist when light comes. When light comes, darkness goes. When darkness comes, light goes. They do not coexist. Moses was teaching his people their origin in the world. Have you heard that before Adam, people existed and they were called the pre-Adamites? How many of you have ever heard the term pre-Adamites? Would you raise your hands? Okay. Pre means before. Who are they? When you research, you'll find that the pre-Adamites are the aboriginal people of the earth. Aboriginal means from or away from. Original means they were here from the beginning. Do you know who they are? Caucasian people are not called aboriginals. It's the darker people of the planet that are called aboriginals. Listen carefully now. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us, they call me a black nationalist. He didn't say he was or he was not. He just said black is not national. Black is universal because everything started in darkness and then came out into the light. So if everything started in darkness and came out into the light, as you got light out of darkness, you got white out of black. Wait. The Caucasian people are a new people on our planet, and they were given time to rule, but not to rule in the way of God, but to rule opposite until the coming of God. This is not racism. There are white people who are knowledgeable that you are the father. that you are the producer. Two white people cannot produce yellow, much less brown. And black is just impossible. But out of the black comes the brown, the yellow, the white.
Because his teaching is right and exact. Look, he called the white man the colored man. You're not colored. Colored is the past participle of the verb to color, and to color means to change from its original state. You're not colored. You're black, not because you're cursed. You are black because you are the origin of all things. Man, white man, colored man. Colored meaning what? His nature is grafted. So he colors everything that he touches. He changes it. He falsifies it. He's a colored man. If he preaches the Quran, he preaches a colored view. If he preaches the Bible, he preaches a colored view. If he views reality, it's his own colored perception. And when you allow a man like that to ride you, he gives you his perception of reality, his perception of God, his perception of truth. And in his perception, you are killed, and your power becomes.
Take it or let it alone. White man can't argue. He's a Johnny-come-lately on our planet. Now, why should the white man be upset with me? What am I saying? He bears witness to it in his own scholarship. Mendel, who was a white scientist, discovered a law that light skin is recessive, dark skin is dominant. Recessive means weak, dominant means strong. Light eyes are recessive, dark eyes are strong. This is Mendel's law. He discovered that you can get the weaker from the stronger. But he said you couldn't reverse that process. Oh, that's Mendel saying this. White anthropologists, white historians, white biologists, white geneticists, they never argue with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But look, the deeper significance of what Elijah Muhammad was saying is that whatever goes on while something is being made goes into the makeup of the thing. You can't be making something in an environment and something from the environment drops into the thing and then you keep on going. It's made into the thing. When the white people were being made, according to the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to us, lying and murder were going on the island of Pilon. I'll go deeper into this at another time, but I'm using it as a point of reference. If lying and murder is going on while something is being fashioned of life, then lying and murder become a part of the very nature of the thing that's being fashioned. The white man himself has not known why he lies like he does, and is a murderer and a bloodshedder of all the peoples of the earth. Jesus said in the Bible, I know you St. John, 8th chapter, I know you are of your father, the devil. The lust of your father you shall do. He was a liar from the beginning and a murderer. Well, if the father was a liar and a murderer, this offspring is that the father made it. Now look. This is not saying that we cannot overcome that. But the Caucasian has a natural tendency to lying and murder. Because he is such a liar and a murderer, he has actually spread his power over your womb. And you are producing from your womb liars and murderers that you yourself are frightened of. Your own little children are scaring the hell out of you. You wonder, where did they come from? They came. So, dear white people, you are fairly new on the earth. And not only were we before you, we produced you. This is true. This is true. Oh, don't you go around saying an ape was your father. Just tell the truth. And then the Bible told you, honor your mother and your father, that your days may be long in the land which the Lord your God gives you. When you look at the black woman, you're looking at your mother. She's the mother of all living. She's the Eve of the book. And the geneticists prove this, that everything came from the black woman, and the black woman came from God. Yes, she's not man's woman, she's God's woman, and that's why we got a problem, brothers. I'm almost finished. Hang with me a few more minutes. The Quran says everything submits to God except the rebellious devil. The Caucasian does not have the innate ability to submit to God. He don't lean toward submission, he leans toward rebellion. So the only way you bring the Caucasian in line with God is there has to be a force present to make him obey, because he don't incline that way. That's why the law of Moses was a law of force. The law of Jesus is a law of love. And white folks can't respond to love. They only can respond to force. And that's why you're not successful in loving white people, because you don't have the force necessary to make them inclined to obedience to the will of God. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that wise black scientists, the book of Revelation said there's 24 of them, make Bible and Quran history to last for 25,000 years. A year for every mile in accord with the circumference of the earth. The earth is 24,896 miles. So when we write Bible or Quran, it is written in advance for 25,000 years and put in a vault. Whenever a part of what is written is to be fulfilled, one of the major scientists will raise up from among the people what is called a prophet and give him a part of the writing. He's only concerned with his part. There's a whole
25,000 years of history, this man only has a part of the writing. Now, brothers and sisters, in the year 1 of this present cycle of history, which is approximately 16,000 years ago, the scientists saw one coming who would make a devil from the original people. When they brought it back to the one judge who is Allah, Allah could say, let it be, or we will not permit it. But whenever God says, let it be, his word is be, and it is. In the Quran, Allah don't give nobody credit for producing color. He takes the credit himself. He said, I gave the rocks their hue. I give people or man their hue. But how he does it, he doesn't say. But if a human being comes up with the idea to make a people other than the original people from the original people, you can look at that human being, but that human being is only a causative agent of God's will. For God has already said, let it be. In the Quran, the angels are talking with God. And God said, I'm going to place a ruler in the earth. And the angels say, what will you place in it but that which will create mischief and cause the shedding of blood? Allah said, I know what you know not. Now, brothers and sisters, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that a black man was born 20 miles outside of the holy city of Mecca. And when he was a young boy, about 6 years old, he was playing in the sand with 2 pieces of metal. And he saw one piece of metal drawing the other piece of metal under its power. And there he discovered the law of unlike attract and like repel. And he said to his uncle, when I grow up, I'm going to make a people to rule you. And the uncle said, what will you make? But that which will create mischief and cause the shedding of blood. And the little boy said, I know what you know not. Now in that is an allegory in which is contained the truth. There are young people today coming right up among us that have vision for tomorrow that will blow their parents' minds. And they start talking to their elders, and the elders say, child, where did you get that? Because the parent knows it didn't teach the child what the child is speaking, but the child comes out with it naturally because the child is born to do something. And what it is born to do is wrapped up in its genetic makeup. And it just takes circumstances to bring out what is in. Do you understand? You don't have any teacher. Where did it come from? It comes up out of the child because he's born to do what he's doing, but circumstances will bring him to his life's work. Do you follow me? Yaqub was 6 years old, playing with 2 pieces of metal. He saw one piece drawing the other piece under its power. Immediately, something comes up out of him. He's going to do something big one day. They send him to school. He learns everything there is to learn and finishes school at 18. He's in the laboratory studying the life germ. And he discovers that in the germ of the black man, there's a brown germ and a black germ. He discovers the positive and the negative. He discovers this thing operating in our being. And what he said was, if I can separate this brown germ from the black germ and graft it into its final stage, I could produce a people unalike. And because they would be unalike, they could be attractive. And if I teach them how to master their own original people, then I will make a master. Now, brother and sister, Yaqub, when he became 18, he went to work. And he started teaching and getting followers there in Mecca. And as he began to teach, people began to listen to him. The authorities got really vexed. And the more they persecuted Yaqub, the more his followers grew, until they put him in jail. And when they put him in jail, the teaching was still going on in the streets. So finally, the wise one said, we've read about him in the history. He was in jail under an alias. When they went to the jail, the king called him Mr. Yaqub, and in words said, look, we know that you are the one that has to do this work. What do you want? He said, you give me my people and allow me to leave and take my people with me. So then agreement was made, and he took his followers. There were 59,999 of them with Yaqub, making 60,000. And they were banished to an island in the Aegean Sea called Pilan, but in the Bible it is called Patmos. And there on the island of Patmos, Yaqub began to make a devil. How do you make devil? What are the steps that you make? You start by grafting, by separating the germs. You start by setting up a law of birth control. Yaqub had helpers to help him produce his new people. He had a doctor, a nurse, a minister, and a cremator. I'm coming back to you in a minute. This may sound far-fetched, but boy, when you see it. Yaqub told the ministers, before anyone comes to you to marry, they got to go to the doctor. And the doctor will take a sampling of their blood. Sound familiar? If two black ones come, tell them their blood doesn't make it quite right, they have to go back. Don't give them an okay to the minister. The minister is not to marry two that look alike. He must find the unalike and marry the unalike, so that a dark one must marry someone just a little lighter than self, unalike. That's the law. Take the sampling of the blood. If they're unalike, say, well, you can go on to the minister. The minister will marry them if they're unalike. But right away, you got to get married at 16. You got to start producing babies. Yaqub wanted babies. If a real black child was born, the object was to kill the black and save the lighter child.
Then marry the lighter on to a lighter, and keep on grafting until you produce a brown civilization of people. Birth control. Kill the black, save the brown. Marry the brown on to a lighter brown, kill the darker, save the lighter. Marry the lighter on to the lighter, kill the darker, save the lighter, until you bring it to its apex, which is this that you see, this Caucasian. Caucasian mean weak-blooded, weak-boned, stale-faced. That pale, what the Indian call a pale man. No? Brother, I am not playing. This is serious. The white man is not the real man. That's right. He's a made human being from you. When they want to go in the laboratory to develop medicine for their disease, they don't practice on gray mice. What do they practice on? Come on. What color mice? White mice. Is the white mouse a natural mouse? Uh-oh, where did the white mouse come from? From the gray mouse. So Whitey uses something that already is a hybrid to demonstrate what happens on this. Maybe if it can affect that white mouse, it can also affect me. Do you hear me? Now he's here. On the way, it took 600 years to take him from black all the way to white. First, there was a brown civilization. And you got them out there now. They're called Japanese. They come right up out of that grafting. The next civilization, next 200 years, you had a yellow man. And those yellow and brown, they don't get along. China and Japan may look the same to you, but they know they're different, and they clash with each other. And out of the Chinese came the Caucasian, or the yellow man came the Caucasian. These are new people. You can't take the brown man or Japanese back beyond 6,000 years. You can't take the white man beyond 6,000 years. You can't take the yellow man beyond 6,000. All their history is 6,000 years old. It's the original people that have no birth record. None whatsoever. Now, look, making people of color, that's not sin. That's wisdom. Like making different color flowers, or different color or kinds of fruit, or different kinds of animal life. That's a test of your wisdom. Making different kinds of human beings is a test of the wisdom of God. God said, let it be, bring them forward. Yaqub then had to teach them a teaching that would oppose the teachings of God. They already are opposite us in color and opposite us in nature. Why do you say that? If murder was going on the island of Patmos to produce them, and lying was going on to fool the baby away from the mother, kill the darker, save the lighter, then Jesus says in the New Testament, I know you, talking to the Jews, you are of your father the devil. He was a liar and a murderer. And if you look at that white man, he's a lying thing and a murderous human being. There is no human being on earth that has murdered more living things than the Caucasian. He's a murderer and a liar. Take it or leave it, brother. I'm not saying that we don't lie, but the white man lies almost for no reason at all. Come on. A liar and a murderer. Now he was taught by Yaqub how to master us with a system of tricks and lies. And that boy is the same today as he was. He's full of tricks. Come on. Got you doing it. He's a tricky dude. He can't help himself. A liar, a murderer, a deceiver. Now, when he was made, he was allowed to come back among the holy people. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us that in 6 months he turned the Holy Land upside down. And we rounded up all of them that we could find and drove them out into the hills and caves of Europe. This is where you get in your Masonic order the cable toe. We took everything from the white man but the language. Stripped them naked, so when you join the lodge, you get a little apron. And they tie you together, and we beat him every step of the way. So when you join the lodge, they call it crossing the burning sands, and they whoop your backside like our fathers whipped them, driving them out. That's written in the Bible and in the Quran. Get out of it, despised and driven away. Caucasians. And brother, they've been angry with us ever since. They went into Europe and went savage. That's right. EU means hillsides and caves. And ROPE is the rope to bind in. We sent him up there and bound him in so he couldn't get out of Europe. And the man went savage, tried to graft himself back and got as far as the ape. Right. Not that he came from the ape came from him. That's his brother. And you hear him say, well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. He know what he's talking about. Oh, brother. He lived in the caves of Europe for 2,000 years, walking on his all fours. Let me tell you something. You notice how the white man take off his shirt? You see all this hair look like a blanket covering him? Come on now. Some of you sisters, you like to look at that naked beast. See him out there parading on the beach. Chest, you don't find chest, just hair. All down his arms, everywhere. They say, well, how come I don't have that? You look at your chest, you can hardly find a hair. You look at the white man, he's head down. Where did this come from? Came from his days in the cave. Have you ever put on a cast on your arm and let it stay there for 3 months? When you take it off, what do you see under there? Come on. What do you see? A lot of it, right? Not on the arm that didn't have the cast, but on the arm that got the cast. Why? Because wherever it is dark and damp, where you get no sunlight, you will grow an inordinate amount of hair. Here's a white man living in the cave. It's there in the 18th chapter of the Quran, called the cave. And at the mouth of the cave is a dog. Say if there are 2 of them, the 3rd was the dog. If there was 3 of them, the 4th was the dog. If there was 5 of them, 6 was the dog. And when you see the white man today, who is the white man's best friend? It ain't you, it ain't God, it's a dog, brother. Oh yeah. Him and the dog have a love affair. He cohabits with the dog. Moses had to tell him, look, if we catch you sleeping with an animal, death. Because white folks so crazy. They lie down with the dog, lie down with the sheep, lie down with...
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says when the scientists went out and sampled the thinking of the people, they saw that in the year 8,400 of this present cycle, a man would be born named Yaqub, born with a determined idea to make a new people on this earth, a new people that would be strange and different from any people that had ever been on this planet before. And that this people that he would make would rule with a contrary civilization that would wreak havoc on the earth. And when they brought their findings back to Allah, the judge, he looked at it. He could have said, we don't want this. He said, let it be. Why are you going to allow all this suffering? Because it's going to manifest human nature to its fullest, and it will test the people under evil to see whether evil is as productive in their lives as good. So that at the end of this experiment, each of them will know that evil is not the way that they should go, but you must choose righteousness. And the only way you will choose righteousness voluntarily is that you must suffer enough under evil. But the evil that you see in operation, ultimately you must come to know that it springs from yourself. And then not only will you call for the destruction of this evil world, but you will call for the destruction of the evil in yourself that this is the manifestation of. Then you are ready to be made whole, perfect. Yaqub was not wicked. Yaqub was born with a determined idea. Stop right there. Determined, past participle. If he was born, he didn't determine the idea. So the man had nothing to do with it. So what the hell are you blaming Yaqub for? Somebody bigger than Yaqub had determined that he was the one to be born out of the dissatisfaction of the masses. 30% of them were dissatisfied, to bring about a change that would affect the entire earth. So a child was born genetically prepared to do a work that would shake the entire world. His name was Yaqub, a black scientist. And that young boy at 6 years old saw, as he was playing in the sand with two pieces of metal, he saw one attracting the other under its power. And he said, when I grow up, I'm going to make a people unalike who will attract the original and rule it. Before he was 18 years old, or at 18, he finished all the schools of his day. And he studied biology, genetics. And he discovered in the germ of the black man that he could produce color. We don't call you colored. We call you black, the essence of all color. And at one time there was no brown. All right. That's right. There was no red. All right. There was no yellow. There was just us, the original people. Now you say, well, I don't believe that. How old are the Chinese? Tell me what their calendars say. How old are the Japanese? Tell me what their calendars say. They're not but a little over 6,000 years old. The Indian, the people that you call Indians, they are not the brown man. They're not the yellow man. They are the so-called red man, but they're not red. They're original people. They predated all these other races on the earth. They and us are original people. Well, how long have we been here? Well, we don't have no calendar. You don't go among the Indians and ask them, where's your calendar giving us your birth? He said, I don't know. I just been here. With the earth, with Mother Earth and Father Sky. I just been here. Where's your birth record, black man? I don't know. Nothing about no birth record for me. Ever since I came into consciousness, I was here, and before me there was me. The sun don't show my beginning, because I am a people that was before there was a sun. Before there was a moon and a star, I, the black man, was. And I am, and I shall be. There's no end to me. I am from the beginning, from God. I am his first act of creation. But I was imperfect. And he put me in the process of perfection. Therefore, I had to experience everything of myself to have a complete and thorough knowledge of myself. But only when I know myself perfectly and completely can I be made whole, and from me a perfect heaven, a new heaven, and a new earth that have no ending will come into existence, but I must be made perfect. And so Allah said that in the beginning, that I would be perfect, we would be perfect, but we didn't know the process. There was a lot of pain involved, a lot of death involved, but all of that death served the process of life, because it gave us a greater knowledge of truth and understanding of self and understanding of God. And so, in the Quran, listen, Muslims, God is talking to the angels. And he said to the angels, I'm going to place a ruler in the earth. Yes, sir. And the angels start talking back to God. What are you going to place in it except that which will create mischief and cause the shedding of blood? We extol your holiness. We know you're holy. We know you're righteous. But why would you do a thing like this? He said, I know. What you know not, let it be. So the humble Elijah Muhammad said, a white man was grafted from you. He's called a sucker. Come on. Now, I'm not being vulgar. He's a sucker. Yes, sir. What is a sucker? Something that has no root in itself. No root. So you cut into a tree that is sucking from the earth, and you graft a shoot into the tree, and then it sucks from the life of the tree to make its own life. Paul said, come on. Paul said, you should not boast against these, for you were a wild olive branch grafted in among the original. This is the white man. He's not natural. He was grafted into a people that were already here, and all the life that he got, he sucked it from you and me, and our Father talked back to me. Yeah. He's a sucker. And he sucks today. Where's there some life for me, I'll go suck it up. Niggas got some knowledge I want. I'll go over there and suck from them. And he draws from us till he gets strong. And then he boasts against the thing that he sucked from and gained his strength. He was living up in Europe, eating the bark of trees, eating juniper roots, eating flesh raw, laying around with the dogs. If there were 2 of them, the dog was the third. If there were 3 of them, the dog was the fourth. If there were 4 of them, the dog was the fifth. I'm talking about the Caucasian. in the north, in the cave, facing the north, didn't see the sun rise in the east or set in the west, and since you don't have no light in a dark cave, he grew hair all over himself like the other animals. Listen, black man, I ain't got time to mock no other human being. I just want you to know what came from yourself, so you know what's in you. A beast came from you because there's a beast in you that you got to get under control. But the white man is the manifestation of all the crap that ever was in you and in me. You're looking at it walking around now. It got flesh and form. And it give you hell because that evil of yourself gives you hell. God wanted you to see evil from yourself in a living form. That he would put your true nature to sleep, to allow the weaker part of yourself to dominate you, to show you why you must gain control of the weakness of yourself, so that in getting control of the weakness of yourself, you've already conquered the white man, because he came from the weakness of you. Yaqub made him, and I mean he made him. Grafted him out of us, starting with the brown and the yellow, then the white. Every one of them, he made them liars and murderers. So the white man is born a liar. He's born to murder. He's got a propensity to murder. He asks himself the question, why do I kill like this? I'm not like any other species, any animal. The animals kill because they're hungry. I kill for the love of killing. So the Bible calls him the blood shedder. He don't care nothing about life. No, sir. He's the destroyer of life. I'm talking about the Caucasian. The prophets came to him, he killed them. That's right. That's right. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, he's the real devil of your Bible. But he's the devil that didn't come out of space. Came out of you. Let me talk about this devil a minute. Look, man. What I'm trying to get you to see is not something to hate white people. That's not the point of this lecture. No, sir. Point is that the Quran says, I created color. This is God talking. I gave you your different hues. See, he's telling you, my hand is over Yaqub's. My mind is over his. I wanted you to see that as I produce color in the plants, I produce color in the flowers, and I produce color in the rocks, I can produce color in life, in human life, but I have to bring it from an original source, and you are the source from which all human beings of color came. But he didn't bring them out of you for you to masquerade superiority or for them to walk around inferior. He says, I made you into tribes and families that you may know one another. See, God puts knowledge above it all. Yes, it's painful. Hell yeah, it's painful. But there's no price too much to pay for knowledge. The more you know, the stronger you are. The more you understand, the more power you can extract from what you know. Then there is no barrier before you become God. The thing that impedes you from growing to God is the impediment of your lack of knowledge. Therefore, when God introduces himself in the Quran, he says, Alif Lam Mim, I am the best knower. You want to come to me? Come up in knowledge, but there's a price you've got to pay. I know I'm running over this quickly, and I should really take my time, but time is against us all. The Caucasian had to have come. If the Caucasian did not come, we would not have today this profound knowledge of ourselves. For in looking at this man, we see the worst of ourselves. You actually have the capacity to outdo him in evil because you are the original. And today you are outstripping the white man in the manifestation of wickedness. This white man that ruled you showed that you got evil in you because he couldn't bring it out of you if it wasn't in you. See, he made a freak out of you. Look at this, look at this, look at this. You, the original people of the earth, walking around, twisting. How did that happen, brother? How did you get to be such funny fellow? It's because that's in you. How did you get to be a lesbian, sis? You can't bring it out if it ain't in. How did you get to be a liar, a thief, an adulteress, a fornicator, a murderer, a backbiter, a slanderer? You all of that. We all of that, right? How did you get that way? Unless it was in you. The white man brought it out. He gave you a civilization where it's easy to be wrong, hard as hell to be right.